Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox. When you think snowboarding Xbox exclusives, you most likely think of the Amped series. But what if I told you the Xbox had another early exclusive snowboarding game? Its name was Transworld Snowboarding, and it stands out as something different when compared to Amped. I played through it recently, and let me tell you about its history, lasting impact, and give you a review. All footage was captured from an original Xbox, and I want to thank my YouTube channel members for their support. But let's go ahead and hop into the history of this game. The development history of this game dates back to 1999 when it was initially announced as Snowboarding Extreme for the Sega Dreamcast. It was being developed by the Finnish game studio Housemarque, which had previously made some games in the industry, but most importantly for this game had released Supreme Snowboarding in 1999 for PC. Yet, like many Dreamcast games at the time, the game's development stalled with the downfall of the console and it was moved over to the Xbox. This is why in 2001, when it was previewed at E3, IGN noted that it was the most developed of the 3 Transworld games announced. Infogrames, the publisher, had taken the Transworld magazine brand and put it onto this snowboarding game. They also announced Transworld Surf, an Xbox launch title, and a later cancelled Xbox exclusive Transworld Skateboarding, and I really wish we got that one. It was announced to be released in Q2 of 2002, but was pushed out to the end of the year. It honestly wasn't too hyped, with not a lot of places running articles on it, but out of the previews I could find online, places really thought the visuals were great and the size of the mountains were neat. Yet comparisons were drawn to Amped and non-exclusives like SSX and Dark Summit. On October 15th, 2002, Transworld Snowboarding was released exclusively on the Xbox in North America. It would be released in Europe on November 8th. Personally, I had never played this game before this year, and I had never heard about it until I actually started this channel when a few people in the comments asked me to review it. I love a good extreme sports game, and I was excited to hop into this one. I played through it recently, and let me tell you how I felt about it, starting with the gameplay. Transworld Snowboarding is a part of the extreme sports craze of the early 2000s and features all of the genre's hallmarks at this point. In this game, you pick from a selection of professional snowboarders, each with varying skills and different snowboards. You go through each course one by one, taking down various goals at each level. You combine tricks to get high scores, search for hidden areas and courses, or pull off tricks to complete enough goals to move on in the game. You get the primary championship mode, and you also get a single session mode, as well as multiplayer. The central pillars are there. This will feel familiar if you're a fan of games like this. It works here, making it different enough from Amped on the console to make it stand out. That one is more score-oriented and is more focused on tricks over this one, which is goal-oriented, much like Tony Hawk. This makes it fresh on the console, and it's a nice pairing alongside the other extreme sports games. I immensely enjoyed the game's structure, and I thought all of the goals were fun. I think once you learn how everything controls, it's pretty easy. But after some time and understanding its mechanics, I didn't mind that it was easier because it was all through skill, and it was a great time. The controls are one of the best parts of this game to me. It feels arcadey and flows wonderfully to make some awesome combos. All stunts are performed by holding the right stick in various directions. If you hold it long enough, you get a perfect hold, and then you can swap to a different move to combo them together. You can mix this with doing spins and backflips. It's intuitive and works extremely well. Holding moves and flipping are speedy and work well, especially in combos. You can switch stances on your board when you land in the snow to make combos longer, and thus can do more tricks or grind more rails to get higher scores. It's intuitive, and I got a handle on it very quickly, which led to some excellent arcadey fun. My only issue is that the directions for the moves are not very easy to figure out. You get a total of 16 moves, and you unlock those 8 more if you hold down the right stick while moving it in a direction. Honestly, that's a bit uncomfortable, but you don't need to use them all that often. Different goals ask for you to pull off specific moves like a mute or an indie. You would generally see the move input on the goal screen in Tony Hawk, but it's hidden here. I had to play with the manual out to figure out each one as I went along, which is a luxury some won't have. It's not a detriment, but it is a small annoyance. Other than that though, controlling in this game is excellent, the level design is a lot of fun, these courses help keep the action flowing and varied. These courses are long and take a reasonable amount of time to go from top to bottom. You'll jump over insane hills and there will be plenty of rails to weave between. A lot of these are going to be in similar downhill areas with plenty of boxes and man-made hills, but some of these downhill courses have intense drops that allow for some insane speed. I also love the urban courses with populated areas where you leap over houses. It doesn't seem so far-fetched for a sporting game, but it's also fun enough to stand out. There's also additional racing to go along with the goal courses, and they ask you to reach checkpoints first and win your races to the bottom. They are well designed, and I think these add a touch of variety to the rest of the game. This game does a good job of staying entertaining with a solid amount of courses. However, a run through this game can be extremely short since the goals can be a little easy. Yet, like Tony Hawk, you have multiple characters to try it out with, and I think it's good for a quick playthrough. Throw on that you have split-screen multiplayer on there, and there's a good amount to enjoy here. The gameplay is rock solid and very fun. Transworld Snowboarding is a great-looking game for 2002. The snow here is impeccable. Amped already looked great on the console, and this one maintains the same standard and even looks better in my opinion. The snow moves extremely well when moving through it, and the layering of it all as you weave through it is excellent. There's some great shadow work done here too, with things casting fantastic shadows on the snow, and it all runs at 480p too, and even though it doesn't support widescreen, it manages to pack a lot of punch with its look. And draw distances down mountains are perfect. I especially like the look of the character animations. The way they twist and move in the air doing tricks is fluid, and the way their clothes are affected by wind is a small detail that doesn't go unnoticed. It helps make the snowboarding world feel more cohesive. This game uses the Xbox to its fullest potential, and it pulls some great stuff off here. It feels like a PC graphics quality game of the era on a console. It does have some frame rate drops here and there though, but overall I'd say the frame rate is consistent, and if it ever drops, it never hinders the gameplay. Visually, this one knocks it out of the park. Really quickly before we move on, I want to say thank you if you've gotten this far in the video. I really appreciate you watching. If you're enjoying, please leave a like as it really helps me out in the algorithm. Consider subscribing to keep up with the retro Xbox content, and leave a comment below with what I should cover next. But let's go ahead and move on. The soundtrack in Transworld Snowboarding is perfect for any fan of early 2000s rock. There are some rap tracks here that are fun, but the rock is what truly shines with a massive roster of songs. There is enough here to figure out what you like. And to me, there weren't any notable tracks. I believe there's a lot of lesser known bands here, but I do think it's a fun soundtrack, and emblematic of the era. Yet the menus only play Apulunta's Bring Me Down, which is fun at first, but you spend a lot of time on these menus, and just this one song can become a little annoying, especially since if you swap it to custom soundtracks, it still happens to play this song in the menus. But yes, this game does support custom soundtracks, so any music burned to your Xbox hard drive will play in the actual game, as you've heard in all the gameplay sections I've shown off. This is a welcome feature in any Xbox game, and it adds so much more to this experience. As for in-game sounds, they're all well done. Sounds of shredding on ice and hitting rails are all perfect and arcadey. They serve the purpose of making sure that all moves accomplished are rewarding. I love the sound that plays when completing the manual to keep combos going. It helps to make sure that I know that I hit the move correctly, and it's very satisfying. There's also small voice bits in the game to add to the world, so a racer might pass you and they'll laugh at you, or the cameraman on the side will congratulate you. These moments are few and far between, but are an appreciated detail. Overall, the sound is wonderfully done. Transworld Snowboarding is just another great snowboarding game on the Xbox. This one is less simulation and holds the same appeal as Tony Hawk. It's fast and arcadey and easy to move through. Once you get the combos down, the game itself has an excellent flow. I do think long play sessions can be a lot of the same, but the game is perfectly tailored for pick up and play for about an hour or two. And those hours will be nice and arcadey. With its great sound and visuals, it becomes an all-around complete package. I think it would be a blast for any extreme sports game fan. And though I do think Amped is a better snowboarding game overall with more to do, this is still a great game. More people should know and play this one. On my ranking list of every original Xbox game I've covered on this channel, and this is my 99th Xbox game covered, this game enters in at the 35th slot. I put it above Crazy Taxi 3 because this has a more consistent level design, over that one having one rough level. And I put Mortal Kombat Deception above this because if I had a choice to play between either of these, I'd more likely replay Deception, especially considering multiplayer. Upon its release, Transworld Snowboarding received average reviews, holding a 74 out of 100 on Metacritic. This surprised me as many outlets were not into it. IGN gave it a 6.7 out of 10, calling it unpolished and buggy. GameSpot gave it a 7.6 out of 10, saying it was solid with some great visuals. Official Xbox Magazine in January 2003 was on the higher end, giving it an 8.3 out of 10. They loved the look and gameplay, but felt the physics were a bit off. It's hard to nail down just how popular this game was, but looking at how little people talk about this game, I'm gonna say it wasn't that popular. This is all speculation, by the way, but I suspect the mixed reviews, as well as this game not being that popular, led to the cancellation of Transworld Skateboarding, and no sequel was ever made for this game. This game feels like it faded into obscurity soon after its release. Yet this did not mean the end of the developer Housemarque. They would go on to continue and be open to this day, creating some hit PlayStation games like Dead Nation, and most recently Returnal, still thriving in the industry. I don't think Transworld Snowboarding is thriving as much though. Other than a few fans in my comments, I feel like this one is pretty much unplayed and unheard of, except by hardcore Xbox fans. On Backlogged, it holds a 2.9 with only 9 people claiming to have played it, and 2 of those people gave this game a 2-star rating, so maybe it isn't as loved. I'd say though, it's a very fun and arcadey game. If you like Tony Hawk titles or even Amped, you're sure to find some fun in this one. But that does wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe to keep up with the retro Xbox content. Be sure to comment below if you have any memories with this game, or just tell me what I should cover next. And I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.